Good morning. My name is Francine Jones, and I live in the peaceful village of Delaware New Side, which is in the Pomona village of the Stann Creek district. At that time, I will be honest by saying that my Christian life with Christ was pretty much lukewarm. I was like more stagnant at the time. It was as almost like the Spirit of God within me was like more inactive, somewhat dormant. I was already used to walking through a door, enclosed with walls, sitting in pews, listening to the pastors or the preachers at the altars. That night, which was originally planned as a night of worship, actually turned out to me as a night of revival. It was more like a night of transformation where hearts were poured out, hearts were hungry for Christ, and that actual space was where a lot of people were able to turn their lives around. They were able to relive that moment in getting connected back with Christ. And so I was one of those members who were called up on that particular night, and I was called to do something more. I can recall also when the night had ended, there was something more that was missing from us. We wanted more, and actually we were seeking to find what else will happen after here, or was it just going to end just right there? And so we wanted a little bit more of what we experienced that particular night, and that was how we learned about the gathering, which I think was stirred out of that particular event, the night of worship in 2023. For me, the gathering looked like a place of worship. It was a place of where you can actually meet God with people who actually had that same hunger and thirst for Christ and wanting to know more about Him. And so that gathering, that space actually created that for me at that appointed time. And that was when I was able to grow deeper and more delving into the work of God and just knowing God more deeper in my spirit.
My name is Zarahlee Jones, and I live right here in Pomona. I've always been a child growing up in church. I've always believed in God. I'm a firm believer from ever since. I was going through a turmoil of problems that has to do with school, relationship-wise, family-wise. It was just a lot. During that moment, I felt like everything was just so wrong, and I just felt like I was being attacked every single time. But knowing that I had that faith that grew in me, that's what really truly brought me through that season of my life. Well, I got connected with the gathering through my mom. My mom was here fellowshipping for I think a year, and then she introduced me into the family, into the gathering family, and that was about 2 years ago. The environment itself was just so welcoming, and I felt like, hey, I think I could get used to this, and eventually I said, Mom, I'm glad that you brought me here, and I can do it again.
I feel as if though it's a chosen set of people that God has called out to form and to be a part of the gathering, and He's only looking for a chosen few to make the start. And I'm so thankful that God has chosen me to be a part of this community, to start what He has started and what He will continue to do, and what He will finish through not only us, but through the work that we do, that we will be able to bring others in so that God's church can grow exponentially. I realize now, before then, what church actually means. I thought that the church was just a building and we have a place to go. God is just confined within this building, but now I know with this different space that we have at the gathering, it's just to show the infinite God that we serve and His amazing and imaginable ways in which He works mysteriously. He's not a God that we must put in a box, but He's a God that He's able to do all things exceedingly and abundantly if we only avail ourselves.
My decision to have been baptized, it wasn't a decision whereby I made immediately. you know. And even when they were doing the calls for baptism, it was still something that I didn't really had my focus on, because I was like, wait, I need to sit this one out. Maybe I need to see how this one goes, and I'm gonna probably make the decision next year. But I don't know, I can't tell you the exact day or the exact time when something shifted in me. But that was when I discovered that, hey, I'm ready. It's probably the Spirit of God who came to tell me that you are ready, and you don't have to be perfect. That was always my idea of being a baptized Christian, is you have to be perfect. And honestly, we don't. And even after being 4 months of, you know, a baptized Christian, it's still not perfect. I'm still trying to figure things out. But to say what joy I felt that day, it was amazing. Especially when I came up and I rose out of that water, and I was like, yes, I did it. I feel free. I feel free, and I love feeling free. You know, I don't want to go back to feeling trapped. You know, it's not a nice place to be. No. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be a part of this family.
God spoke, He spoke, and sometimes it only takes one person that He needs to speak with, and He uses that person, and He used me, and I'm so thankful that I was obedient to the word that He spoke in my heart, and I was able to carry forth that. That is my prayer, that each and every one of us who are part of this ministry will be able to find their purpose and align it with God, and step out in faith, and to be used purposely by God.
We're all born for a purpose. You know, there's purpose in the whole fact that you are still alive today. And I always think back and I say the fact that we have breath is enough. You know, we may not have it all together. We probably won't ever have it all together. But the fact that we are alive simply means that God has a purpose for our lives. And that is what I would tell that person who feels like they're lacking that hope. Just look at the fact that you have breath. That means that you have purpose.